Hello, Dave Kenworthy here again. It's the 2nd of the 9th, 2021, and today we can talk about the underpinning unit within the design of the Great Giza Pyramid. And this unit is a sphere, and the sphere in the 1 inch cube is pi divided by 6, and that at the Great Giza Pyramid is represented by 22 divided by 42 when pi is 22/7. So this is the base 100 version of the sphere, and it's here. That's it. And the second unit that we're going to look at is when pi is 3.1416. And now this approximation for pi is hyper close to real pi. And we've already shown in these presentations that it can be represented at Stonehenge in Tom's Aubrey Circle, which is 330 megalithic yards. So let's just do that. Plus 330 times 2.72 is that. Divide that. Sorry, multiply it by 3.5. We get 31416. It's there in the design. And Tom actually flagged it on page 47 of his first book. So we know that these are two valid versions of pi, and not only that, I've written a paper about this. And the relationship between the two versions is when 22/7 is represented by 10,000, 3.1416 is represented by 9996. And that's completely deliberate by the ancient designers. So how do we talk our way down this unit? Well, we know now, based on the previous presentation, that the ancient designers have used cubic units to produce this GP-based solar year of 36666.666 inches. And 100 inches represents a day, which means that 1 minute represents 864 seconds at the Giza base. Now this spherical unit is 22 divided by 42. And in the GP base, when it's this number of inches, there are 70,000 of these units in the GP base, which is not what anybody would expect. But there's no denying this. This is what's happened. And when we use pi as 22/7, it's this unit multiplied by 6. So C6 times 6. And 10 barleycorns in the same system are C6 times 7. So that times 7 is 10 barleycorns. And there we have the GP base. So we can see it's a base 100 design. It's that multiplied by 10,000 gives this. And there's 10,000 at the top. Now the royal cubit is 39.375 of these spherical units. I'm not sure what to call them, to be quite honest. I've thought about giving it a name, but it's eluding me at the moment. So there we have the royal cubit. It happens to be 20.625 inches. And we can work out the Riemann because we divide that by 99 times 70, which is root 2 approximate, that we know the Egyptians were using because Berryman tells us that. And he gives us this digit of 0.7291666. And that times 20 is that. So that's the relationship that we're expecting. 20 digits in a Riemann root 2 royal cubit. Exactly what we're expecting. But what this means is we're splitting from the new metrology condition now that there must be 1760 qubits in the GP base for all the new metrology relationships to stand up. And now we're finding that we've got 1777.777 of these royal qubits in that. So the new metrology has to work out why this has happened, and we'll find out in the next presentation. But this unit is derived from a 1-inch square, and it's pi over 6, and we can use real pi to work out where we are along this relationship. But what I want to talk about first is this unit here, because when we take this spherical unit from the second one, when we're using 9996 and using pi as 3.1416, we still find that there are 70,000 of these units in the GP base. So the number of units is staying the same, but the length of the unit is decreasing, which is the new metrology. Now then, what is happening? When we take that from that, we get this. It's 0.00209524. And if we divide this into that, we get 2,500, and we get 2499 when we divide it into that. And this unit is something I've written about on the Graham Hancock website. If we multiply it by 7, we get the eclipse unit. That is the eclipse unit. And I'll just show you. Stonehenge, the eclipse. I found that unit at Stonehenge, and it is 5280 the mile divided by 360. Very Babylonian unit, and I've spoken about it in the presentations leading up to this one. So now we can see that the Giza Great Pyramid, the basic unit within the design, is this. And what we find is that there are 7 of these units in 10 barleycorns. So what we're finding is that we're getting 7,000 in the base when we use this, and when we use the barleycorn, we're getting this ratio. So there are 100,000 barleycorns in there, and there are 70,000 of these units in there, and that's how it's working, and that's why we know it's working. But we get this Egyptian royal cubit of 20.625 because we're breaking with convention in the new metrology, finding that there are 177.77 units in the GP base. And just to let you know what that is, it's 16 over 9 times 1,000. And 16 over 9 squared is Egyptian pi squared, is Egyptian pi. 16 over 9 times 16 over 9 is Egyptian pi. So that's it for now. That's the basic unit within the Giza design. There's a lot more I could talk about. In fact, I'll just say one more thing, because if we take the second unit from the first, we get the eclipse unit. And if we know now there are 2,500 of those in that and 2499 in that. So we know what's happening here now. We know the Giza base, when it's this number, is there because there are 25 eclipse units in 366.666, which is a solar year. And if we multiply that by 24 and divide it by 25, we get 352. And there are 24 eclipse units in 352, which is a lunar eclipse year. And that's how the eclipse was calculated by these people. And that's what the Giza Pyramid is designed against when 22/7 is used, overriding pi as the pi that we have come to know in the modern world. The Egyptians and the ancients regarded 22/7 as a higher version of pi than the actual relationship in the circle. It's God-given. We've been given it to use it, and it's in the eclipse. And the way that we find it in the eclipse is there are 6585.3 units. That's on the NASA website. That's the Saros. And they were using 6600 in the system. So they were using an extra eclipse unit so that they could use the imperial system, 66 feet being a chain. And I've talked about this over and over again over the last few years. But this is the culmination of it. It's this realization that that is a sphere. And that is even closer to the actual calculation. That's, as near as you can get it using the whole number fractions. And that's 22 divided by 42. And that's the unit that they were using to underpin the design of the Giza Pyramid. And another one is 0.7333, which is the digit, which is that divided by 50,000. So the whole system has unravelled now. Everything's come together. And this idea that this is the Giza base has got so much traction now because of all these calculations that are working together. And the fact that we're producing the royal cubit of 20.625 from this arrangement, where we're using 39.375 of these spheres to create the royal cubit, is exactly in line with Berriman's book. So that's it for now. Thank you.